Or perfect. Well, thanks everyone for joining. I'm happy to be the one to welcome everyone in. We really appreciate you coming in midweek to our normal GeoDAWG spot for a working group update and follow-up discussion to what we're having here. So without further ado, let's get going with some quick updates from the team here. If you can go to the next slide. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So this is the agenda that we've put together. I just like to first thank a lot of the really great work done by Claudia for helping get GeoDAWG up off the ground and getting us running for the first 2 years, along with Larry Kepko, and to thank our current chairs, both Tomoko Matsuo and David Themmons, for a lot of the great work that they're doing currently in helping set up the working group and the workshop that we've had over the summer. So we'll Anthony and I have been helping run the GeoDAWG monthly seminar series. So we'll go ahead and give quick updates there, and then this is the rest of the agenda that we'll have most of the time here for discussion on the workshop before wrapping up. So if you go to the next slide.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you, Adam. So yeah, just gonna say hi. So I'm Tomoko Matsuo from CU Boulder. I'm one of the co-chair. David, do you wanna show your face, the camera? Here you go. So introduce yourself, David.
Yeah, so I'm David Timmons at the University of Birmingham, and I guess I'm also one of the co-chairs of IAGA, relatively new to this. So if anyone has any feedback or anything, please let me know.
Claudia, I know you cannot put the camera on, but
yes, I think now it works. I don't know.
try.
See? Still black, right? But okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm Claudia Boris. I'm working at the German Aerospace Center and was co-chair for 2 years of the GeoDAWG working group. And yeah, that was a pleasure for me to also host the first in-person workshop there in Neustrelitz this year, where we want to do the follow-on discussions now.
Okay, so back to you, Adam. Okay, hold on. Okay, you went too much. Go ahead, Anthony or Adam. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. First, we wanted to just thank all of our great speakers that we've had over the last year. We've had many talks that you've seen here from all the way from the surface of the sun through the solar wind and then propagation through the magnetosphere and all the way down to the ionosphere itself. So a lot of different physical regimes where people are applying the data assimilation mechanism. So we've had really thanks to all our wonderful speakers there. We would also just like to point out a few things. One, all of these talks have been recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel. You can, all of the links that you see below the speakers' names are hyperlinks that will bring you directly to their talks. So if you've missed any of them and like to go back and watch them, we strongly suggest that you click on the links and see a lot of these wonderful presentations. We are also wanted to mention that you can check our website, which is a URL on the bottom right, for all upcoming talks that we'll have. They're always the first Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And if you yourself are interested or know anyone that will give a really good talk on the subject, please feel free to email us or put a comment in and contact us through the website. We're always looking for really good speakers and to continue this discussion going forward. So Anthony, if you have anything you wanted to add, feel free.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it.
Oh, I guess let me introduce ourselves. Both Anthony and I are researchers here at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab. We're doing a lot of research on global magnetosphere simulations in the theory and modeling section here, and we're very happy to be able to help out organizing this monthly seminar series and to be part of the GeoDAWG working group and it's going forward.
Thank you, Adam and Anthony. They're doing the heavy lifting every month. Okay, so good. Next agenda item. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to inform everyone that there are 2 session proposals related to data simulation from this working group, and session proposals for IAGA-IASPEI in Lisbon. It's going to happen 2025, right? 2 years from now, and these proposals being usually discussed at the business meeting, and that happened during the IUGG in July. And my experience is that we don't really, those proposals are not announced among widely the community members. So I want to make sure that the working group GeoDAWG members are aware what's happening. And then so this is the proposals, and then I think it's the details being actually still being discussed. Okay, one is that one proposal put forth as an inter-association symposium on data simulation. This is similar in the spirit that what we had for IUGG. So this will be organized, at least as a proposal, with the IASPEI and then across all IAGA this division 1, 2, 3, 4. And then tentative title is an inter-association symposium on data simulation and statistical learning in Earth interior and space environments. IASPEI is the seismology and then the study in interior of Earth. So we are proposing this, and we'll keep you updated. And the second symposium proposal, David, do you want to talk a bit about this? Because I think it came from your working group, or right, discussion with a different working group. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So Versum was interested in, I guess, collaborating with the GeoDAWG working group on a session related to data science, particularly again data assimilation and machine learning techniques that they can start leveraging for either assimilating ground-based magnetometer measurements to constrain the plasmasphere, or using very low frequency wave measurements on the ground to constrain the lower ionosphere. It's a pretty large interest within that community already, so it seemed like an appropriate opportunity to bring this forward. So there's a lot of support within Versum, and I think it's a good opportunity to build some ties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so space weather oriented working symposium has been proposed. And okay, thank you, David. Okay, so any questions, any thoughts on this? Or just let keeping you updated. So as Adam said, there's a you can actually send us comments through Gmail, the IAGA GM or working group Gmail. So keep us in, just share your thoughts so that we can actually represent what you want for this working group to be. Okay, so that's proposals for IAGA-IASPEI in 2025. And then just to add to that, we are thinking, I think we discussed at that during the workshop, I think, that it might be good to have the next workshop, GeoDAWG workshop, so around this time, so that international members can be in the same spot, so that can have another in-person working group meeting in 2 years. So that's another thought that was discussed, and then still under planning. Okay, so next agenda items is this is the proposals that came up during I think OC meeting that happened after IUGG. So David, do you want to go over this?
Yeah, so at the International Union of Radio Sciences Triennial General Assembly, I put forward an initiative to create a data assimilation working group within There are commissions G and H, which are the commissions corresponding to the ionosphere and space plasma wave interactions. So mostly magnetosphere. And so there's quite a lot of overlap and analogous work being done within the IAGA community, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to not only connect directly with the IAGA community that's doing this overlapping research, but also to, you know, tap into financial resources that tend to be available across all of these unions for workshops and working group activities. So going on a model similar to Versum, Versum is actually a joint working group between IAGA and URSI already that concerns the magnetosphere and VLF and extreme low frequency waves. And so what I'm proposing is actually we pursue a very similar arrangement in joining the data simulation working group at URSI with the data simulation group here in IAGA GeoDAWG. I don't know if there's any comments or anyone has any thoughts on that. I've just opened up the floor, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how to do, but maybe you could. We like to see your reactions. We don't make sure that this is something that we have a support of the larger group. So do you have?
I have a question.
Yeah, go. Oh yeah, chat.
Yeah,
go ahead.
My question would be, what are the activities of the URSI group? Do you know that? Are they doing similar seminars or workshops?
So the URSI group is literally just formed. So the intention was rather than reproducing GeoDAWG but in a different union, just from the get-go, having the URSI community join the GeoDAWG working group directly. That was the intent.
Any other thoughts? Especially for people who are part of URSI. Do you have any thoughts? Can I see your hand? You know, if you support this, can I see your hand? Can you do the reaction? Hand gesture, up or down? Okay, I see. I saw two. I guess I would do that too. Oh, Nick, that's question.
No, not a question. It's my hand.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay, let's go. So, again.
If anyone has any comments or that they'd like to say, maybe or after you've had a chance to think about this a little bit more, again, feel free to send an email to the GeoDAWG email, and we can continue a conversation there as well.
Actually, I would have one question, maybe. Is there a reason not to do it?
Not as far as I'm aware. From at least the IAGA management side of things, it seems pretty straightforward to be able to join them together. So it's just paperwork on my part to actually get done.
You got a support from IAGA president, the Andrew.
Yes, Andrew Yao has, I guess, announced his support for this as well. So
yeah, here you go, IAGA president, and we consulted, David and I consulted with the IAGA secretary as well. So, okay. Yeah, I think it's good to streamline our activities. Okay, so with that, I think we're gonna move to the next agenda item. Okay, Claudia, do you wanna go over this because you're the one that organized? Okay.
Yes, I can say a few words, but I didn't prepare now slides for the workshop. Yeah, So yeah, it was in July this week that quite a number of also the participants here today were meeting in Neustrelitz. So we were there about 15 in-person participants and some online participants, 2 very active and others are listening more. So it has been a nice hybrid workshop environment. And we had a number of scene setting talks for 3 for the methodologies in data assimilation and other 3 for validation approaches for data assimilation results. And yeah, here are also the objectives of the workshop, right? That the goal was to discuss, right? So we had the agenda with lots of space for discussions, and it also worked out very well. And we wanted to bring together the experiences and the challenges that we are facing in data assimilation applications in our different domains. And yeah, so there we had like 4 key questions that we raised ahead of the workshop, and 2 were our main focus, how to impose observational constraints by transferring information from observationally dense regions to sparse regions. That was a question that relates more to methodologies for data assimilation. And our other focal point was then the means for validation, verification, and measuring improvements. And that was why we had this also the workshop split in 2 parts with the different scene setting talks. We also had a nice small poster conference and discussion session there. And yeah, then so the first day we had quite some nice, very nice presentations, and the second day we then focused on discussions, and we split into 2 groups, where the first group was more targeting to the first question on the observational constraints, and the second group then focused on validation topics. And we prepared there some documentation of our discussions. And yeah, the purpose also for today's discussion is to catch up here again, right? And see if there's any progress and updates that we can make here.
So Claudia, do you want to take over so there are 2 topics, Claudia says, so we want to get everybody sort of or share the, give a summary of our sort of discussion from the workshop in July, and then get everybody participate in discussion how we can actually go forward as a working group. Yeah.
Yeah, I can try to start with the discussions on the validation topic. Let me see. Okay, good. So let me see. During the discussion of the validation topic, we used some slides that have been like as a guideline for our discussions, and which we also updated during the discussion. And here, yeah, that is now on the methods for validation and the different approaches. And we started with yeah, definition, to use one definition, what is validation, determining the degree to which a model is an accurate representation of real world from the perspective of its intended use. And well, then we also said validation is not one fixed approach. There are so many different approaches which are in use to validate models in the geospace domain. And then we had the objectives to discuss what are good means for validation and verification and measuring improvement. And also if we can provide recommendations for a harmonization of the validation methodologies. And then to bring forward the collaboration for validation between the different groups. So the model versus model observations that that are the 3 items for our objectives. And I now don't want to go through each of the slides that we had, just to come back what is the outcome of the discussions. And then we generated here some bullet points of what statements we made throughout the workshop. So the techniques and metrics should be selected depending on the parameters which we want to validate. That's one statement. And then we also discussed that the magnetosphere validation needs to be considered in a different ways. And for the thermosphere, ionosphere, that was depending also, if I remember correctly, to the sparsity of the data on the one hand, and also the processes there. Yeah, and then this independently of the methods and metrics that we use, the discrepancy between the observations and models should give us then the information how to adapt the model to better fit the reality. So that's always the objective that we should keep in mind when we do the validation. Yeah, so then we also went through the different metrics that are frequently used for validation. So I guess most of you used a few of them already, and we discussed some strengths and limitations of these metrics. But in the end, there's like not an optimal metric for each purpose. So we always have to select the metrics dependent on what we want to show, and also what is the data background that we have. Yes, and we also shed some or put some time into discussing how to deal with uncertainty. So here we have some references also that we linked here. But yeah, to deal with the uncertainties is also of the observations and the models is quite a challenge that we face when we want to validate, right? So, but what is the ground truth? How far away are also the observations from the ground truth? Okay, and so now I have to see what topic is next. Okay, so then, yeah, that was concerning the metrics and techniques. And then the second part of the discussions goes towards harmonization, right? So how can we reach that not everybody is creating or needs to create a new validation method, a new setting for validation. So I think up to now, each publication of model development, model improvement, data assimilation has like a very individual way how to validate the results. And the question is there any way how to harmonize this? And yeah, so then we found that there are like different perspectives, right? So one need to validate models is from a user's perspective, right? How much does my model provide good quality results that what I need for my application, for example, the GNSS application, right? How much does the model result help me to correct my GNSS position? Or we also address over the horizon radar, right? To predict then the performance there. Yeah, and the other perspective is more from the point of research and process understanding. So to investigate what processes or how well does the model implement the processes taking place in the thermosphere, ionosphere, and magnetosphere, and what is the model still missing there. Yeah, so that varies or discussions that it's that are very different perspectives, and also in these 2 bullet points we can separate again like different focal points, different use cases. Well, let me see where. Good. So here we have then conclusion slides of the discussions that we had. So the first question, what are good means for validation, verification, and measuring improvement is that yeah, we discussed that metrics rely here on the data properties, Gaussian, non-Gaussian distributions, and a combination of different metrics is necessary. Then, yeah, we also discussed about mutual information theory, which is an independent tool from these Gaussian assumptions. And we should not rely on metrics alone, but also look into scatter plots and distribution. So yeah, it's a complex thing, and the validation should be performed with looking from different perspectives and not having a limited view alone. And yeah, then for the second question, can we provide recommendations for harmonization? And here we came to the conclusion that harmonization is possible, but only for specific scenarios, right? So that we could define scenarios for different use cases, either from user perspectives or from physical processes investigation perspective. And then we have some recommendations for the definition of scenarios. So yeah, what I said, the user applications or physical processes, a quality control database for the ground truths should be established, and we should agree on appropriate methods and metrics for the specific scenarios. So that's now a very brief 3 bullet point recommendations. Probably we can also do a lot more in better describing these recommendations here. Yeah, and finally, I would like to come to the next steps. So how did we finish our discussions, and what ideas did we propose for continuing this activity and make some progress concerning harmonization of validation. And one idea was that we could propose an ISI team in the next year, and with a focus to bring a physics-based model to ground truth is one option, but one could also think about the option to bring forward the definition of different validation scenarios, that we can put already something into place, right? The other thing was that we proposed that, like, we could start already now with the definition of two initial validation scenarios, one in the domain of thermosphere ionosphere and the other in the domain of magnetosphere. Well, so that was my hopefully quick wrap up of what we achieved during the workshop. And it's also supposed to be the open now for the discussion, right? And so I saw that also Nick is in the audience, who is also leading currently an ISI team, which addresses validation of data assimilation results, right? And there we also started with addressing data assimilation validation of the ionosphere. And this could also be like a starting point for the scenarios definition, right? I don't know if you
Thank you, Claudia. And
also have some ideas.
Yeah. And then thank you, Claudia. Nick, if you want to tell about your EC team, maybe this is a good time. And then everyone, I put the, can you open the chat? And I dropped the sign-in information to something called Miro board, so that Miro board, so that you can put the sticky notes so that you could brainstorm, because it's a bit difficult to do this over Zoom. So please, maybe I'm just inviting Nick to say a few words on the ISSI team that he's been leading, and then everybody else, could you also multitask and sign into Miro board? I put some questions that Claudia summarized, and you can start putting some sticky there so that we have some discussion.
Just to double check real quick, do you want to keep recording this part, or do you want to cut it here for discussion?
Yeah, maybe let's finish recording so that everybody can speak freely. Okay, thank you, Anthony. I totally forgot.